Hi folks, Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here, back again on the couch for another Stayhomer review. Yes, I know the last time you saw me, I was behind the wheel of a car again, not only to spare myself from Spider-Man spoilers, but just to prove to the world that I still knew how to drive, or at least as well as I did beforehand. So here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have, I used to go to the cinema, in the last case it was the drive-in, to see a film, and then I would get in the car and tell you about it on my way home, presumably to save time from having to, type out a whole movie review. And again, I was an idiot. But anyway, so now, because there's an apocalypse happening and I don't want to breathe a bunch of strange people's air, I've been watching some things in the privacy of my own home, despite what some directors want me to do. So, that's how it works. And today, we're here to talk about The Matrix Resurrections. Okay, so synopsis, as best as I can manage it. Neo and Trinity, our heroes from the first trilogy, are apparently back in what is apparently the Matrix, and are apparently stuck in reality, and they're not quite sure why, especially Neo, who we're focused with because, it's Keanu Reeves and he's the star. But Trinity as well, we don't know what's going on. However, there are some people who are in the real world, outside the supposed Matrix, who are apparently trying to get Neo out of this thing, if they aren't just figments of his imagination. I mean, that's good enough. That's fine. So, oh God, where to begin? So, I, like a lot of people, really enjoyed the first film. Okay, just to give you a baseline of where I'm coming from here. And then when the second film, which was, I think, The Matrix Recriminations, or whatever it was called. Anyway, when that film ended, a lot of people were very disappointed, except for me, because I was excited, because I thought I had figured out what they were going to do, because it was the only thing they could have done to make the second film make sense, since basically, and this is not spoilers, if you haven't seen the first trilogy, you should probably start watching now and go watch. Actually, don't just go watch the first film and then stop. That's pretty much the best advice I can give you. But regardless, Neo used his powers in the real world in the second film. And the only way that would work is if it was not the real world. So I thought that basically you had the Matrix, and then the supposed apocalyptic real world around it was just another Matrix. Because basically, if you have a system that stuff is going to leak out of, you put a system around the system in order to deal with it. It only makes sense. Well, imagine my surprise and disappointment when the third film, which was The Matrix Repudiations, came out, and none of that happened. And instead it went off in a completely different and weird and pointless direction. And I was sad. So sad, in fact, I immediately went home and wrote like a 14-page treatment on how they could have fixed the third film to make it fit with the only thing that would have made the second film make sense. It was therapeutic. So, where we left things, it was inevitable there was going to be a fourth Matrix film. The law of relative development demands it. Every film you've ever loved has a sequel in development. The Matrix 5 is now in development. Whether or not it ever happens, that's a question for fate and whatever is going on this side of the weirdness singularity. But it is definitely in development. I can tell you that right now. So it was, some version of it was going to happen at some point. It was almost inevitable. So here we are. Now, let's talk about the good stuff first. That's a good place to begin. So, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I mean, I'd seen the trailers and it looked just like a bunch of Matrix explode, which is fine. I mean, I'm down for some good old Matrix explode. I like Keanu Reeves. I've missed having Carrie Ann Moss in my life. I always need more of her. So it all looked, it had a promise. And then maybe the first third, not necessarily the first half, but the first third of it went really meta and clever, which made me very happy. I'm kind of a fan of, I think it's maybe my exposure at an early age to Thornton Wilder and perhaps different forms of radiation, but I like meta stuff that is not too overpowering. And this was just clever. Now, I don't want to get into it because I didn't catch any of that really in a trailer. That was sort of a surprise to me. It might have come in a featurette or something, but in case it is new information to you, I'm not going to spoil it. But I just thought that was just really smartly done. And, more Keanu, you've got Carrie Ann Moss, you've got Neil Patrick Harris, you've got Jonathan Groff, and you have a good cast. So and Jennifer Henwick as well, the one and only true MCU Iron Fist, and I will fight on that hill until I die. Did I say Jennifer? I did say Jennifer. What did I knew it was Jessica. It was Jessica in my head. I thought I was saying Jessica. My brain just completely short-circuited. Oh, man. That's the last Christmas card we're going to get from her. And why did I frame the video like that? I have no idea. Well, folks, if you wanted proof that these were one-take deals, there you have it. So it started off good. And then it started to fall apart for a couple of reasons. The main reason is what's going on doesn't necessarily make sense. And part of that is, okay, it's like this. I'll compare it to this, which is a weird comparison, but all of mine are. So the first time I read T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, I don't know, what was I, 8? I have no idea. That was part of the Thornton Wilder radiation thing, I guess. But I didn't get it. But I had the feeling reading it that it wasn't its fault I wasn't getting it. I just didn't have enough stuff to bring to the table to basically, pick up all that it was putting down, so to speak. And so, every time I go back to it, I catch more stuff. This, I really feel like there just isn't stuff there to get, where you have references to characters that you go, well, who are they supposed to be in this conceit? And then you have characters that are supposedly brought back that I don't recognize, and I usually have a pretty good memory for such things. There was one character I actually looked up while I was watching the film to go, is that so-and-so? Like from the... And it was. But there was a lot of that, so I got the impression that unless you are hardcore Matrix and have committed the first trilogy to memory, that your best bet to enjoy this film, if you are hardcore Matrix, because I wouldn't suggest this if you're not, is to go back and watch the first 3 films. Because otherwise you're just going to miss stuff, because there is some very deep cuts going on here. Who is that? Wait, what was that? Is that a reference to what? And, there's just a lot of confusing thing happening. I'm still not sure. Wait, I took a note. I allowed myself to take a note because I didn't want to mess up his name. Not Morpheus, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. That's a heck of a name. I love it. And of course I wrote it down, and it's pretty much as it looks on the page, but it's better safe to be sorry considering my track record with names. So, he's great. I don't understand him. I don't know why. I'm happy that he was there because he's a good actor, but I don't know why he was there and not Lawrence Fishburne. I don't get it. And I don't know where his basic origin story in the film, I didn't understand what that was about. That was weird. So there's just a lot of weird stuff that I felt like I missed. And I felt like maybe if I had, uh, you know, watched all the, the first three films, and I think wasn't there like two anime movies, and maybe I'd played the game for about 3 years, maybe then I would understand what was going on in the film. Which is a shame because there's a lot of good stuff in it. It's just that it loses the plot somewhere. And I would love to hear from somebody who is a complete hardcore Matrix person to say, yes, I got it because of X, Y, and Z, or no, I was confused too. I have no idea what was happening. So any of that would be nice to hear. But again, I like the cast. I like the first third was extremely clever, and I mean that's basically it. And you have some interesting and intriguing uh, applications of the splode we've seen before. I think is the best way of putting it. But basically, yeah, I don't understand the ending. I don't get it at all. It's kind of like it's kind of like the same doesn't make any sense from like the second half of the second movie all the way through the third movie, just kept going. And maybe it had not built itself up enough for the first third of this movie, but then the second and third of the movie, it just exploded again, the same nonsense, which is a shame because I think it was trying to say some good things, and it did that in the first third. And I wouldn't even tell you just to watch the first third and stop because it's kind of you kind of need the payoff. At least you get the splode, I guess. Um, so yeah, there is a very confusing Stayhomer. Should you watch it? Yeah, like I said, with the caveat that if you are unfamiliar with Matrix or just like me, watch them when they came out, whenever the heck that was, then I would love to hear about your experience and how much you were scratching your head. But yeah, so that is a huge caveat for whether or not you should watch it. And cup wise, uh, okay, so all things being equal, I would probably give this a 2 out of 5. But because of that first third and how happy it made me, I was happy with what they were doing because it just delighted me, and I was happy with the cast. I'm gonna give them another half a cup and do straight down the middle with 2.5 out of 5 cups. That's the best I can do. So they get an E for effort. And is this gonna be the last one? I don't know. If it makes money, they're gonna do a fifth Matrix, whether or not anybody's still involved or not. It's just the law of relative development. That's what happens. So anyway, that's another Stayhomer done from the couch. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy these things, please subscribe to our channel because that's what it's there for. And also come out to the website, needcoffee.com, where we throw stuff up there every time that we're able to. And those of you who did this over the holidays, thank you so much for it. If you go to, and I don't know if this is a paid ad or not because they're not paying me to say this. I get paid on the back end if you do this, but just imagine there's a neon paid ad sign or something so the FTC doesn't send snipers after me. I have no idea how any of that works. But yeah, if you go to needcoffee.com/Amazon, bookmark that, remember it, love it, chew it. And if you go there, it's like you've gone to the front page of Amazon because that's what you've done. And we get kickbacks on whatever you purchase while you're there. It doesn't matter how big or how small, it all helps, as Rob says, keep the lights on. So again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Stayhomer Reviews. Bye.